What did you think of that top rope dive there, Donald?
Oh,
That was crazy. It kind of it obviously reminded me of when Snoop Dogg did the same thing at AEW.
exactly.
Obviously you could tell one of them's like 26 years old and the other one's like, closer to 50.
¿Estás loco?
No. Thank you for downloading and listening to West Box Score Lucha Royale Edition. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at West Box Score. D-Bot and I are there. Also, our buddy Sonny and Mono is at the Fox Crate. D-Bot, what's up, dude?
Yo, what's going on, man?
Since this is the Lucha Royale edition, we got to bring in a third member, a triple threat to this episode. Rick Esparza, what's up, buddy?
Yo, what's going on, fellas?
It's going good, man. We're going to talk some WWE now. For the hardcore New Japan marks, they're probably going to want to tune out because this is like light for them. This is all. You mean there's no Yano in this Rumble? That we don't want to see it. But I love the analogy that Rick made of that R-Truth is like the Yano of WWE, man. And if you enjoy R-Truth hijinks, Donald, you would love Yano over there in New Japan.
Okay.
He's hilarious, man. So this WWE Royal Rumble, man, this is like, would you say if WrestleMania is the Super Bowl, what would you say the Royal Rumble is, Donald?
Man. I would say it'd be like a March Madness Final Four. Like the actual Final Four, not the whole tournament. Even though it could be the tournament, right? I miss King of the Ring, dude. I really do.
Yes. King Booker. That's, I think, and then there's King Corbin, I think recently is the most current King of the Ring.
Yeah, he's still the current one.
And, that's usually goes to a good heel, is always the arrogant king of the ring. But I mean, the original King of the Ring, wasn't that Bret Hart, dude? Wasn't that Bret Hart, Rick?
I think so.
The true King of the Ring, Bret the Hitman Hart, the excellence of execution there. So Donald, Rick, and myself, we checked out the WWE Royal Rumble for you guys, and we got a good recap coming your way. So without further ado, the big winner of the men's Royal Rumble. Did you call this? Was this your pick to win it all, Rick? Is this? Did you expect Edge to win the Royal Rumble coming in at number 1?
No, not really. Not even close. Not even to be mean. It's just like, nah, because I was trying to figure out where storyline based they could go next or what they want to start off with. Because for me, the Royal Rumble is kind of like the new season because it's what's going to go to WrestleMania. Who wins is going to go to WrestleMania. And that's what everybody works for, in the WWE to main event WrestleMania. But I was trying to think, I'm like, all right, well, Roman Reigns right now in SmackDown and Drew McIntyre is on Raw. So why would Edge win? I mean, okay, Drew McIntyre could fight another old guy. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. If WWE wants to push that, sure, I guess they could go that way. And then Roman Reigns is kind of a big thing. That's pretty much one of their still biggest names. So Edge versus Roman Reigns still doesn't make sense to me. So no, I never thought he would win.
Yeah, Edge versus Drew McIntyre, is that more appealing to you? I mean, he's the WWE champion. I mean, when Edge left with the injury, what was it, around 2012, I want to say, something like that.
2011, I think.
2011, 2012. Yeah. I mean, he had to forfeit the WWE World title, which is no longer a thing. It's been unified. So I think the closest equivalent would be like maybe the Universal title, because obviously the WWE title is still like the title there with the longest history. The Universal title, secondary and no history. So who does he challenge? Does he challenge Roman Reigns? Does he challenge Drew McIntyre? I mean, it's up to Edge at this point to decide. But man, 47 years old, Edge going the distance, dude. Isn't that impressive to be in there for what he was in there for from the beginning to the end, over an hour.
Yeah.
So, man, after a career-ending injury, what did you think of this men's Royal Rumble, Donald?
I mean, I haven't seen one in a long time, and I kind of forgot how fun they are. It's just fun seeing a bunch of guys go in, and you don't know what's the outcome, and then it happens. But Edge at 47, even at the end of it all, when he was celebrating, he was really hyped, which I'm assuming, the adrenaline rush and whatnot. can't say the same for Goldberg, but like definitely I thought it was cool seeing it. There's a bunch of guys I didn't know that were really impressive that I was like, wow, that guy is really good. I'm surprised they're not pushing that guy, or, but it was really cool seeing it. I mean, the Miz part was funny. I like that they kind of blend in the comedy a little bit, when the Miz came out and the Bad Bunny thing happened. But overall, I had a lot of fun watching it, man. I had a lot of fun watching it, seeing who's going to go in, who's going to go out. The Kane part really got to me, man, because it was funny in my mind. I was thinking that. I was like, man, I remember watching this and Kane would come in. And once he comes in, he like knocks guys out. Like there's like 5 guys that are out of the ring. And it was cool to see that they kind of did a throwback to that, and he got a bunch of guys out. So that was fun.
Kane, the original cleaner, maybe cleaning house out there in the Royal Rumble. Like, I mean, but I mean, and I love the, because he's a politician now.
Yeah.
Kane, and like there's a lot of internet wrestling community being great to the way they are. This is the only time Kane's wearing a mask now. So
yeah.
That was pretty hilarious, man. I mean, the men's Royal Rumble, of course, it closes out the show. But to me, the real star of the show from this Royal Rumble event was the women's Royal Rumble winner, Bianca Belair. And that, to me, that women's Royal Rumble match really stood out because it felt bigger than the men's Royal Rumble, and only in the sense because it gave us more.
Mm-hmm.
What was your take when you look at the men's Rumble versus the women's Rumble, Rick?
You kind of want to root for the women's Royal Rumble a little bit more because it's still fairly new. So you want them to put on a great show, and they have been putting on one since it's actually started up a couple of years ago. 2018, I think, is when they actually started it up. And every single time it's been great. It's actually been really good. And to me, it seems like the people that have won it have actually kind of deserved to win it in a sense. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where you're like, all right, you're going to see really good people coming in. You're going to see a bunch of women that you don't very see that often because they bring some from UK, they bring the from NXT UK and then the NXT. So you get to see them pretty much battle with the main roster, and you can see like, oh, who's going to come up next, or you can see, oh, what's going to happen here. With the men's, I don't remember there being that many NXT guys coming in. Damian Priest came in, and I'm trying to remember who else from NXT came in.
He was the only NXT person.
He was the only NXT. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. They had an NXT people, and he was the only person to come in. So it's like kind of the same storyline that's going on, or what's going on. So you're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, like it's cool to see like a Johnny Gargano come into a Royal Rumble. It's cool to see, like you said, NXT guys who are not going to really make the jump to WWE, but it's cool to see them showcased and see. It's kind of like, what if these worlds were to collide? Who would get the upper hand? And it was a great showing by Damian Priest, but he eventually, and now he's called up to the main roster. So is he it wasn't a full NXT, surprise. It was a debut essentially at the Royal Rumble, which, don't get me wrong, that's a cool way to debut. I mean, I think the last person to debut from NXT into a Royal Rumble too, or back when, maybe not the last person, but it was Rusev made a big debut in the Rumble and then stood up on the main roster. So that was a cool thing it's a cool way to debut from NXT to the main roster. So yeah, to your point, man, more NXT guys need to be there. And the women's Rumble, had a lot more NXT people, Shotzi Blackheart, Toni Storm, Rhea Ripley. Man, how good did Rhea Ripley look in that women's Rumble?
Oh, hell yeah. That was my choice. That's the one I was telling you. I think I honestly, all the way till the end, I thought she was still going to win because it was between her and Bianca. Yeah. So I was just like, all right, this is going to, in the end, we were talking about this. Either or, I really liked who was at the end. Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. I didn't even care who won, but these two deserved it. They have been putting on great matches, great shows, and their wrestling is awesome. So I'm like, whoever wins, I don't really care who wins, but I'm already watching a great match going on right now at the end of at their women's Royal Rumble. So that was awesome.
No, that was cool. I mean, I felt like I was a lot more open to the women's Royal Rumble. I found myself that, and I felt like in a way like you guys did, like kind of rooting for that one to be a lot more successful. And I wonder if the the addition of more NXT wrestlers in the women's has to do with the fact that there's just not a lot of women, like not enough women to fill the 30 spot versus the men. But like, I'm with you guys. I've seen a couple NXT stuff in the past couple of weeks, and I mean, to me, it's night and day how great that is versus like your Friday SmackDown or your Raws. A lot simpler to follow to me too. And yeah, some of those guys really stand out. So I'm surprised, just like you guys are, that they did not include more NXT men in the 30. So that was really surprising. But I did enjoy the women. The women, I was super open to it. And I just was like, yeah, I just want to see some good stuff. The Tori Wilson was fun. That was cool. I love that.
Hall of Famer Tori Wilson.
Hall of Famer, yeah.
It's interesting. I wonder if two Rumbles, men and women's Rumbles, too much. Do you almost feel like that's the case? Do you, like for an event, like are we burnt out by the time the men's Rumble comes around, or is it because the women set such a high bar? Like we were so into that final two, entrance that the men's were like, unless you give me two really appealing characters, you're not gonna hit that level of excitement that I felt for the women's Royal Rumble.
I could see that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they hit, like you just said, they hit a level that we're like, all right, this was awesome, this is great, and you're kind of expecting them to try to one up that. And I didn't feel like they really one-upped it. It was it was a good Royal Rumble. It was a good match, but it wasn't like anything that I would say it beat out the women's Royal Rumble match at all in any way, shape, or form. It was a lot more fun. The R-Truth segment when he came out with the 24/7 during the women's, that was great. Alicia Fox is, you already know she's like the wild child and everything. And it was great to see her come back. And then with her and R-Truth going off on that was so much fun. And then her winning the title, and it was great. Winning the title during the Royal Rumble match was awesome.
Yeah.
And then her losing it real quick. It was just like, and then you see
so
all the guys coming out. So that's what I'm talking about. It was a lot more entertainment. They were like in the women's match than it was in the men's. Yeah, they had Bad Bunny. It was, that was cool. But I don't know. I felt a lot more entertained on the women's one, and it was to me, it's a better show. And when you're like, all right, let's do this, and you have such high expectations, and then I don't know where it's not meeting them, then you kind of start feeling like it's not that great of a match, or it's not as good. But it still was a good match, but it just it falls in comparison.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's because of a lack of character, kind of like diversity character? I don't know how to fully say it, what I'm trying to say, but basically, like, what I'm saying is, like, with the women's, for example, that hardcore part, or the 24/7 title part, that was funny. That was a cool little side thing that came in. It felt like a cool little side story that just jumped in and it jumped out, and I thought that was really well done, really well executed. And then on top of that, like, a lot of the women that come out all have like a different thing going on, like, for example, like Alexa Bliss, when she comes out, like, she was doing the whole character thing where she's like super happy and jumpy, and and you kind of felt like, oh, okay, like, she's the campy one. And then she like is laughing the whole time when she's like, slamming women and all that. And then finally she gets booted out. And even what's her name? Was it Billie Kay? That was like, just like, she sits down, she's trying to look for a partner. She At first it was like, okay, what's going on? But then as soon as she does like a second, third rejection, you're like, wow, this is kind of funny now. Like, and then you finally see that. And they got like, I felt like the women got more creative with how they were gonna do it. And I don't know, I feel like the men were just more like basic, and I don't know, maybe that's what it is for me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's it was one of those things. It was a Royal Rumble match. It was a basic Royal Rumble match. It was you got what you expected out of the men's Royal Rumble.
It was predictable, right? Like, it was like Edge calling his shot, very passionate promo at number one. But then, as we were talking before too, the injury that happened to Randy Orton while they were wrestling outside, and he can't compete in the Rumble. He's not eliminated, that. So you that's that obvious spot where they're gonna come back at the very last moment.
You
and
called
I
it.
texted that to you guys because and even Rick knew this when he even laughed at, like, hey, spoilers, like,
Yeah, exactly.
because we know this is going to happen. It was so predictable. And us as wrestling fans, we've seen that happen so much. But then there was this internet smart, us smart marks were kind of like, well, maybe it's not. Maybe he actually is injured, when they were taking him on the side of the ring, where the hard cam is facing, and the refs were kind of communicating to each other, like to the backstage area, where it almost felt like, okay, maybe they're not supposed to take him that way. Maybe they didn't. Maybe he is really hurt, and they're getting chewed out by Vince McMahon in the back because they're not supposed to take him that way. So it's kind of like, well, maybe he is hurt. Like, and we both felt that, like, I don't know, man, maybe he really is hurt. But then, as you said, Rick, I didn't catch it, but they were showing him backstage as well, like, hurt.
Yeah, they kept on doing like segments where they were kind of showing him backstage and icing him up, and he was like, "Oh fuck," and I'm just like, everybody that's watched WWE for a good while knows if somebody gets hurt, they are that camera is not touching that person at all. They are pretty much trying to keep away from that because they don't want to show somebody really hurt or something happening. So you just kind of hear out of nowhere, oh, this person disappeared. Oh, something happened to them, or they're out on the floor, or they don't move for a while or something like that, because they're kind of like, they're injured, but they're not as injured to get them out of the way, to make a scene. And with them, it was just straight spoon feeding you. Oh my God, he's hurt. Oh my God, he's hurt. And he's
terrible for him. He can't compete anymore.
Exactly. But then they keep on saying, oh, but he's not out though. He's not out, but I can't believe it. I guess he's gonna be. I was like, oh, come on.
I would have preferred a spot where he just crawled underneath the ring at that point. That's also another classic Royal Rumble spot where they're not eliminated and they crawl underneath the ring. Shout out to Jerry the King Lawler, man, for that, using that one back in the day. I mean, but yeah, going back to the women's Rumble, I mean, we got to shine a light on Bianca Belair, man, because she is I'm glad WWE is putting a rocket on her, man. They're gonna Bianca Belair to the moon, GME status. No selling short on her, because, man, she's got like that it factor, it doesn't come along very often. Very charismatic, athletic. And it's just going to be exciting to see if she does challenge, most likely, Sasha Banks. Can you imagine this, women's main event match between these two? Awesome. The show they're going to put on that grand stage. Two women of color also, dude. Yeah. So it's like, this is freaking awesome. I hope WWE does not screw this up. Although WWE cannot help themselves sometimes, as you mentioned, Rick, that what does this mean for Bianca Belair and Bayley's feud? And, because that feud should be over, right? But is it?
I have no idea. That's one of the things. That's why I thought she wasn't going to win. And I thought it was going to be Rhea, because I'm like, well, she's still going on in a feud with Bayley. Rhea Ripley really has nothing going on. So there's a lot of ways you can go with her. So that's why I was like, oh, that's why I thought she was going to win. But I don't know what WWE is going to do. I have no idea what the big man, the what everybody says, the person that shall not be named, is going to think of.
What he was the higher power. Remember, it was me, Austin. God damn it, was me.
Dude, my friend texted me, and we were talking about the Randy Orton not being burned thing. And
Rick called that too.
And then he was like, "What if they taped the Rumble before he got burned?"
Wait, I love the way Rick actually pointed out, like, for continuity, what is he going to show up on the next episode of on Raw with the mask back on his face? Like, that would make zero sense. But of course, WWE would do that. Zero continuity, as they always want to do, man. So for me, the big star coming out of this Royal Rumble is, of course, Bianca Belair, the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. But also, man, a new WWE superstar has emerged, and that's Bad Bunny. Dude, to me, I am thoroughly, as much as we're entertained by the Women's Royal Rumble match, which it was very entertaining, I was thoroughly entertained by the performance, although I thought the mix sounded bad, as we talked about. That fake crowd noise just drowned out those beats. That sick ass Booker T beat, man, that he has. So, but then he shows up, and then that spot where, of course, the Miz and Bad Bunny have a whole backstage interaction is great, which causes the Miz to break the laptop and DJ setup of Bad Bunny's DJ, and and then Bad Bunny comes out and gets involved in the Royal Rumble match and jumps from the top rope.
Yeah.
What did you think of that top rope dive there, Donald?
Oh,
That was crazy. It obviously reminded me of when Snoop Dogg did the same thing at AEW.
exactly.
Obviously you could tell one of them's like 26 years old and the other one's like, closer to 50. And, but, I thought it was hilarious seeing it happen. I did see like the back foot, I think, was the one that kind of slipped out, but it seems like he got his like he got his jump off in time, so it doesn't really, like it was able to still have a launch. So that was insane. But yeah, that was funny though, seeing him get involved.
Yeah, that would have been crazy to see him fall.
Oh man, if he would have ate shit and just like head first onto the apron, man, that would have been bad. And then we wouldn't have got that gold promo that we had the following night on Monday Night Raw because, of course, continuing the storyline, for once WWE continues with continuity, Bad Bunny was on Miz TV on Monday Night Raw the following night, and Miz decided to apologize. Let's take a listen to that.
I just want to apologize from the deepest part of my heart.
Okay. I accept your apology, miss.
Thank you. Is there
Chingon way.
anything you want to say to us?
The best, man. That was a great pro. I'm so glad that Bad Bunny's continuing his dream into being a WWE superstar. But John Morrison, man, stole the show during that Miz TV promo. And there was more.
You want to become a WWE superstar. Is that correct?
Yes, it's one of my dreams.
Bien. Well, you have come to the right place, my friend.
So Bien. Morrison is so great at this role with The Miz, and Bad Bunny is holding his own in this promo, I thought, man. I thought that was really entertaining, dude. Like, of course, he is a performer, so he knows what it takes to be a WWE superstar, man. But I was loving this whole thing, and it all comes to a head with a rap by Miz and Morrison. Let's take a listen to that.
Check this out.
Give it to him.
Hey, Miss Morrison and the Bad Bunny travel around the world making all the money. I bondad en los palabras, pero nos baile es como chupacabra. Say, hey, hop, hop. Somos caballeros, güeros, caballeros, What do you think?
Listen. Guys, you are special.
Thank you.
But I'm not interested.
You're not interested.
¿Estás loco?
No.
Oh man.
How great is that, man? How hilarious is Morrison there, man? The real scene stealer there for that segment, man. I'm glad he's back in WWE, John Morrison, the great worker too, but just hilarious there, man. We got to see more of him, right?
Yeah, heck yeah.
He pretty much took that AAA freaking promos of his broken Mexican freaking from AAA and brought it over here.
Was he ever the AAA champion? I feel like he was at one point, right?
I think he was.
Or was it only Cage? I know Brian Cage was.
Brian Cage is yeah, he did win it, but I think he was. I actually don't remember, but I know for sure he had a little stint at AAA.
Oh, man. Shouts out to John Morrison, man. That's comedy gold right there. Bad Bunny also getting involved during afterwards. Damian Priest comes out to make the save when, Miz and Morrison were going to get violent, of course, with Bad Bunny. Yeah. And at one point, there's an altercation between Morrison and Bad Bunny where Bad Bunny has the Money in the Bank briefcase. And, John Morrison goes to take it away from Bad Bunny, and Bad Bunny hits Morrison with the hot mic. So it was great to hear that both throughout the entire arena. I mean, just entertaining, man. Overall, WWE, Royal Rumble. I mean, overall, the event was because of the way Edge wins it, Rumble. And, what do we want as wrestling fans, right? We want the young guys to shine, but man, isn't it so difficult to remember? Our memories are so short. Edge had a career-ending injury, and we were so happy last year when he, returns in the Rumble. Edge is back, and was in the final four of it. What if he wins it all? No, we don't want him to win it in the following year from the number one freaking spot. Go over an hour, triumphantly win it. 47 years old and do it. No, we want young guys.
Yeah.
Wrestling fans were the worst, right, Rick?
Yes, we are. We're a bunch of degenerates, pretty much.
Suck it, Donald. You're not as bad and jaded as we are. Are we wrong in this thinking? Like, what did you think?
I thought the same thing too. I was like, oh, okay, I guess they went with Edge. I mean, honestly, I thought when it was a Final Four, it was Strowman and Seth Rollins.
Yeah, Seth Rollins came back.
And then there's Orton, and then they do the whole thing where he's like, "We're the future, not them." I thought that was like a legit statement. I was like, yeah, like one of you two should win it. And it was crazy because like I didn't expect Edge to win it, and yeah, I kind of felt the same way too coming into this, like watching this again. I was kind of like, really, like Edge? I mean, I'm happy that he was part of it, but like I said on the text, I legit thought he was a cameo entrant. Like like I didn't think he was gonna be like actually the one that's gonna win it all. I'm kind of like now a little down on it. Like I don't know.
But you're also down
especially
on
because the women's one was so good, So it was like women's one was good. I was expecting like a good, just some, not an up and comer, but like at least someone who's stable within this generation's wrestling roster, So
yeah, I'm trying to think from that Final Four. I believe it was like Edge and Christian and Strowman and Seth Rollins. Like I'm trying to think of those Final Four, who would I preferred, right? Before, of course, Randy Orton came back. Like I guess I would have put my stock or my hopes in Seth Rollins, right? Coming back, big return. Like then who do you put him up against? You could put him up against Drew McIntyre. That'd be a fun WrestleMania main event. A fun WrestleMania main event between Roman Reigns, dude, would also have been a great.
That's what I was about to say. You can go either or way. Drew McIntyre is a big beast of a guy, and it's like another story of Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins. It's like a beast versus the smaller guy. Roman Reigns, they have such a big background already. That's already something that is so much fun to watch, and especially with this new tribe storyline that Reigns is doing, and now the Messiah is going to go against the tribe. Oh, that would have been a better even story right there. That writes itself.
Come on, Vince, what are you doing over there?
Right,
busy hitting the squat rack.
I don't know.
He's not thinking about the creative side anymore, man.
But that's the thing, though. Is he really thinking about the creative side? He's thinking in his. To me, he feels like he's thinking in his old ways. Why bring back Goldberg? It's a conversation that we had before about it. You have great talent right now. I think Keith Lee was one of the guys that he should have been pushed. Big dude, very athletic, can move, can talk, and you don't really see much about him anymore. And you're bringing in Goldberg, a person that you're just, it's for me, I guess you're just trying to get seats, people watching the thing, but it's the nostalgia thing is, okay, I get it, but his prior matches sucked. Yeah. Sorry to say. I loved Goldberg in WCW. It was great to watch him just ripping freaking through people. It was all right. It was fun. But now in his age, you can see that he can't go far in a match. It has to be a 5-minute, 10-minute match. Because as Donald brought up, when he was walking out of that ring, I don't know if that was him joking around or like playing it off that it was tough, but he didn't look good. He was sweating bullets. He was like, he was tired.
He was gassed. You're right, man. He was done. He was done.
So why go the routes of the older people? Why go the route? And I understand they're great wrestlers. They bring their name. Edge is obviously a big name. I love Edge. Rated R Superstar was awesome. Yeah. His freaking elimination chamber match 2011 when it was him and Rey Mysterio at the end was freaking great. But I don't know. I see a bunch of potential and a lot of great up and coming wrestlers that they have, and I don't know what he's expecting them to do. Like he's thinking that they need to step up to another level or something, but they're already at a level that I think that they can do something. But he's just. I don't know. He said in his old ways, I guess,
trust
or something.
Issues, man. He doesn't trust any of these guys to carry the ball, which really sucks. It really does suck because
Yeah.
you're losing some potential stars like a Cesaro, man. Cesaro's contract is up at the end of WrestleMania, and I am hoping he makes the jump to AEW because I would love to see him do some work over there in AEW against Brian. Imagine the matches that him and Brian Cage could have. Like those would be great.
Imagine him with anybody. Cesaro is literally the Swiss Army knife. He can wrestle with anyone, and it's not even that he's putting himself over. When he's actually, he puts everybody over. He wrestles everyone. He makes them look great. He makes himself look great. It's like one of those things where it's like, how can you not push this guy? And they've been pushing him a little bit because I know his contract's is coming up, so that's probably why they were pushing him a little bit more now. But I don't think they're going to give him anything, honestly.
Vince is not very in tune with the creative side. I think he's too busy in the business boardroom with just trying to get that Peacock deal done. So, as you guys know, you guys saw WWE Network no longer going to be a thing. They're taking all their entire library, including their live events, to the Peacock Network, which is the NBC streaming service, which, I mean, for myself, who's a big Manchester United fan, I've already used my 7-day free trial to see a Manchester United match on Peacock. So that means I'm going to have to fork over the $4.99 to subscribe to the Peacock, which is going to be a deal for me, right? Like, I could see my English Premier League matches there. I could see the entire WWE library and live events. However, my skeptical, jadedness sees this as the potential where, like, okay, Peacock is going to be the exclusive home for WWE streaming services, right? However, they'll give me the library, but I feel like they're going to charge us for the big pay-per-views at some point, a la
like UFC
ESPN Plus for UFC. Exactly, Donald. You're calling it Nostradamus here. D-Bot is seeing the future. You're totally right. I agree with you. And that's what I'm worried about. I mean, because if it stays the same formula of everything included, it seems like a bargain. But I know Vince McMahon, and I know he's pulling the strings there, the puppet master that he is. He sees more money. He sees more money to be made.
You know what? I think I wouldn't be surprised if that's what would happen, given that that's how AEW does it. With the BR Live app, you can watch the pay-per-view on BR Live or order it, and you pay whatever it costs. Whether it's like $30 or whatever,
like $50. It's the full
like 50.
It's the full price pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I feel like WWE probably has seen their numbers. They're like, we're giving a lot for $10.
But their numbers aren't great. They barely do a 100,000 buy rate, which is pretty minuscule when you think about it. For like maybe WWE thinks they could 10 times that. Is that their thinking?
I think that's what they're hoping on. Even though I feel like, honestly, it was cool to be able to watch the Royal Rumble for $10, man. That was a legit, like, damn. I was like, damn, I remember having to pay more money for this on the pay-per-view on TV. And it was crazy to see that. Here, $10, here you go. Like, I get to watch it. And I get to rewatch it however many times I want, so for $10. So
yeah,
Royal Rumble's done, and we're officially in WrestleMania season. Are you excited for WrestleMania, Donald? Are you pumped as a casual wrestling fan?
I mean, I am. I am looking forward to it. I know you guys had told me in private that it's going to be a 2-day thing. I was hoping it wasn't. I was hoping it'd be a 1-day thing because last year the 2-day thing was a little too much, especially given like how early that was with the whole no fans thing. Like I was so weirded out by how quiet the whole thing was, with the stadium was and everything. Obviously now with the Thunderdome, they get away with so much. Like I could totally see, like, because AEW has a little bit of people coming in, and I think like WWE rather just not have anybody for the sake of being able to get away with more things with cinematic feels and stuff, like the transformation of certain people or just the lighting, like all that laser lighting that takes place. I'm sure you would be blinding a bunch of people in real life. So I think they like the fact that it looks like that, that it looks like a club when you go in there. So, but I mean, overall, I am hyped to see WrestleMania. That's definitely like the next big WWE pay-per-view I'm looking forward to. I'm just gonna obviously here and there watch the storylines and see how good they are, and hopefully they come out with something good. So that's what I'm hoping on. But we'll see.
Scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you?
I would say like an 8.
Oh, damn, that's
You know.
pretty good. That's good.
8, like really excited, but not overly that. Not after watching it last year, if it wasn't for that Undertaker match, I probably would have been like, yo, this was like the wackest WrestleMania I've ever witnessed. And I can't believe that this is what they went forward with. And they wanted to make it a 2-day thing.
Yeah. That's a big
So,
commitment. It's a big commitment as a wrestling fan. Yeah. Rick, scale 1 to 10, how excited are you for this WrestleMania?
I'm actually like a 9 because they're going to do it at the stadium at the Tampa Bay, the James something, I forgot what it is.
Shout out to your Bucks.
Yeah, pretty much. It's going to be awesome. They're going to win, they're going to win the Super Bowl, and then after that.
Take it easy, all right? Let's not spread fake news here, okay?
No, come on. It's the power of Brady. The Brady magic. Well, when he was with England, I said fuck Brady. But no,
he's still the GOAT,
Tampa Bay, the Brady man. Oh, no, yeah. There's no way around that. But anyways, so I actually don't know if they are going to have. I don't know if anybody said if they actually aren't going to have people.
It hasn't been made official, but it's heavily speculated there will be.
Yeah,
fans
because
there.
because it's in Florida.
Right.
That's where AEW is doing their matches. They're already having people there, and it's a stadium, so they can actually space it out pretty well. That you can have the space, so it's going to be there. So I think there are going to be people, but it's just going to be like only people from Florida are going to be able to do it. Kind of like AEW. It's going to be like a weird last minute thing.
You think there won't be any internet? Well, there can be international travel, and that's the best thing about WrestleMania is all the international fans that come in. Those fans from Europe are freaking nuts. The singing along they do. I mean, that's where we got the Fandango chant started.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's. Yeah. I mean, I would almost venture to say maybe I don't know if the yes chant started at the day after WrestleMania. I think they may have started at WrestleMania.
It started at I think it started at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. So that's all the international contingency that comes in. So if it doesn't have the international fans, is it really a WrestleMania? Because Florida fans, I mean, yes, they are nuts, but it's not going to have the same WrestleMania feel. So that's going to be interesting too. And I'm just excited to see when it does happen at the stadium, we're going to see that spot where Kevin Owens jumps off that ship out there. Because that's going to happen.
Oh yeah, he called it last time. He wanted to do that, but I guess it just didn't happen. I mean, he's jumped off of almost everything off the Thunderdome now.
He jumped off the forklift in the last man standing match against Roman Reigns, man. That's Kevin Owens for you, man. He is entertaining, man. And I would put my excitement for WrestleMania at about probably the most jaded out of both of you, probably about a 7. I need more story. I'm not sold on it, and the 7 is all invested into the Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks match. I think for that match, I'm actually about a 9.5, 9.75, because that match should be worth watching WrestleMania 4. But everything else, I'm just kind of like, what are you gonna? There's nothing else on this current program that I'm excited for. Maybe Bad Bunny. If Bad Bunny comes out of WrestleMania, maybe I'll go back up to a 9. That
you really have no underdogs. Really much, except for Kevin Owens. I mean, because he's really has been trying for, with Roman Reigns. The last man standing match was good. There was a funny spot at the end where they kind of messed up.
Yes,
where Heyman couldn't get the handcuff open, and it was and the ref just stopped counting because he's like 6, 7, and you can tell he's like he can't really stand up. He really couldn't stand up, but he kind of got to a point where he was kind of like he was like standing on kind of 1 foot, or he was like crouching because he was finally able to kind of position himself.
That's a vertical base.
But it was like so pretty much you're like, he kind of screwed that one up. He couldn't get to it. Like he was like, you can see he was like, oh crap, not this side. Wait, let me try the other hand. But as in the like underdog story, it's only him because Big E is still kind of maybe you can still kind of say maybe an underdog story, but he won the Intercontinental.
He's going in as a champion. So you're right.
He's going in as a champion, and nobody else is. There's not really a lot of people that you're like, I'm rooting for them to go because they are going the distance, except for Bianca Belair right now. Now her, because she won the Royal Rumble. That's a story that, I'm pining for too as well. And because
you always want that WrestleMania moment where the new champion is crowned. It's almost like the passing of the torch, right? It's the, who do you give it to? Do you give it to, do you have Edge beat Drew McIntyre? Like, no, Drew McIntyre is like the future. You can't drop it there. But the only one you can have is Kevin Owens over Roman Reigns at that point and a WrestleMania moment. And of course, you're going to have the big Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks WrestleMania moment. That's the only way you can close out WrestleMania and have the fans go home happy. If you have Edge win over Drew McIntyre, that's not going to be a great closer to WrestleMania. So I don't know, man. Unless they really truly give Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks the main event at WrestleMania, which will Vince really pull the trigger for that? Maybe on one night. That's where he's going to get us. We're going to get one night of those two main eventing one of those nights, which will probably be the first night. The second night will probably be the Edge, Drew McIntyre main event, man. But prove me wrong, Vince. Come on. Give us what we want.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
No, for real. I feel like that. I could see that happening. I feel like Reigns will come in and do some other one-off match, like some sort of last man standing type of thing, where it'll be like a special thing. But I could see McIntyre and Edge be like the actual, like a traditional championship type match.
Either way, we'll be watching, right? Because we are wrestling marks, as you are too, listening to us right now talk about this for a while. We appreciate you downloading and listening to this episode of Lucha Royale from the West Box Score crew. Rick, thanks for joining us on this episode.
All right, thanks, man, for having me here.
Thanks, man. And be sure to follow Donald and I on Instagram and Twitter at West Box Score. Be sure to follow our buddies Sonny and Mano at The Fox Crate. Download his podcast, The Fox Crate Podcast, on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you download your podcast. And be sure to follow our media partner, Blue Wire Hustle, at Blue Wire Hustle on Twitter. That's it for us this week. See ya.
Later.
Yo soy Coco, ustedes Viking. Busca el T, tirándome un breaking. Estoy en mi pick, cabrón. Y voy a seguir en mi pick, cabrón. Ey, soy un rey, campeón. Busca el T, ey. Estoy en mi pick, ey. Y voy a seguir en mi pick, ey, ey. Mírame, que tú qué, cabrón, tú eres feca.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Ni voy a frontear, dale repeat, cabrón, pa' que vea que estoy